Well, hello YouTube. How y'all doing today? Hope y'all doing pretty good. And welcome to a very special episode today. Got something very special. I think a lot of you guys will really get a kick out of this one if you're into history, or whether staying in unique places or adventure or exploring. All of that good stuff, all of it. We got something for you today. I'm in Matewan, West Virginia, for those of you who may not know. Now this building right here, okay, this is the old Matewan City lockup, obviously, old City Hall, mayor's office, sheriff's office. Now this building once served as the office and jail for Sid Hatfield. Here in Matewan, West Virginia, William Sidney Sid Hatfield is a local legend. He was well-loved police chief during the West Virginia mine wars. This long conflict pitted coal miners against coal operators. Hatfield led the miners in a fierce showdown here in town known as the Battle of Matewan, or the Matewan Massacre, depending on which side you support. Anyway, the shootout erupted after Baldwin-Felts detectives evicted numerous miners from their homes. He got the nickname Smiling Sid because of his gold-capped teeth. Now, from what I hear, he was pretty proud of those gold-capped teeth, and he liked to show them off quite a bit from what I hear. But anyway, he was a strong advocate for the United Mine Workers of America. Sid Hatfield rallied the entire community against Baldwin-Felts' intimidation tactics. The battle took place right across the street over here on May 19th in 1920. Leaving many people dead. 7 detectives, 2 armed miners, and even his close friend, Mayor Cabell, depending on how you pronounce it, Testerman, who Sid is buried next to today. To the coal miners here in southern West Virginia, Sid Hatfield was a real-life hero and a living symbol of their resistance. Even today, you can see bullet holes embedded in the buildings right over there, as a matter of fact, where the shootout happened. The battle brought him fame, leading to a short film titled Smiling Sid, where he appeared alongside fellow UMWA activists of the day, including Mary Harris, Mother Jones. Unfortunately, on August 1st in 1921, Baldwin-Felts hired assassins, murdered him and his friend Ed Chambers, unarmed and right in front of their wives, on the steps of the McDowell County Courthouse. They faced no consequences for what they had done. This, in turn, outraged the local people, which caused the Battle of Blair Mountain. Now, you guys can look that up if you want. It's a whole huge story all by itself. But it changed things in the unions and the entire coal industry forever. At his funeral, at least 3,000 mourners showed up to grieve for their fallen hero, who had just paid the ultimate price. The marks from the bullets are still visible on the courthouse steps, serving as another reminder of Sid Hatfield's legacy. He's buried not far from here, right across the bridge over here next to Mayor Testerman, and within eyeshot of Ed Chambers' grave. Sid and Ed were both very young, in their 20s, and who knows what they would have done with their lives if they had been allowed to live them. But to be honest, they exchanged all of that for what they thought was right, to do the right thing. There were 10 deaths at the Matewan Massacre. But anyway, before Sid Hatfield stepped into the history books, there was another man here that most have probably not heard of at all, and his name is actually inscribed on this building as the man who put it here. Sheriff John Bootin, J.B. Maynard, right up there, J.B. Maynard, Chief of Police. He was born in 1868 to Alvis Maynard and Victoria Smith. He married Louise Hatfield in 1892. She sadly died in 1908 at the age of 29. And we found her grave recently in the Sprigg Cemetery not too far from here. Anyway, after this, JB dedicated himself to law enforcement, and he took his job very seriously. He was involved in all of the big crimes and searches of the day, including the big Glen Alum train robbery in 1914. But the lifestyle eventually took its toll on him too, though, when he was shot and killed during an altercation with a man named Jesse Huffman in 1918. Now, this, like I said, this is the actual building. This side was the mayor's office. This side was the chief of police. This was Sid's office over here. This was also the jail. Now, this building has recently been renovated, and you guys can actually come here and rent this and stay in Sid Hatfield's old office. Now, how cool is that? How cool is that? I have permission to spend the night here in Sid Hatfield's old office, in the actual jail cell. Okay, we are ready. Thought I'd show you a little bit out front real quick before we went in. There used to be an old building that sat right here. I've seen old pictures of it. There was an old man sitting on right about there. Very cool, isn't it? You know, you see old historic pictures of buildings and then kind of come out and just kind of line it up, you know. But this is the old Matewan lockup and City Hall, built in 1908. But check this out, guys. Hang on. Brighten it up just a little bit. There we go. This one's sun's hitting that one. That should. Yeah, much better. Much better. But there's all kinds of old pictures. These guys right here, they were the Baldwin-Felts Detective Agency. They were, you know, coming down here to strong arm local people. You know what I mean? They were two of the ones that got killed. But right here's several more of the names. There's more over here. Baldwin-Felts Agency Detectives. These are two detectives standing outside of the courthouse in Welch, West Virginia. That was where the courthouse is, where they killed Sid at. Right on the courthouse steps. Murdered them both. Wonder how old that is. I saw this earlier. I was just kind of curious if there was a date. Nope. Okay, nice bathroom, by the way. You know, kind of give y'all a rundown real quick. Microwave, refrigerator. You've got, you know, your Keurig sitting right here, little Keurig. Heather'd like that. She's a Keurig aficionado. You know, all kinds of really cool old antiques. Nice big bathroom. Got a shower stall in it. Plenty towels, things like that. But this right here is the old closet. You know, there's more tissue paper, things like that in there. Here's a picture from an old moonshine raid in 1921. Check that out. Look at all that moonshine. You can see the cop right here, got the badge, big hat. Okay. Police chief and West Virginia State Police, along with residents of Matewan, showing off the moonshine that was confiscated from Worm Hollow here in Matewan, West Virginia. over 100 jars of shine. Man, you could lay wasted for a long time on 100 jars of moonshine. A long time. Now, check out, I like this. The old desks and chairs and stuff. Look at that. Old phones. That's really nice. I mean, it's got modern, you know. But the old phone's office, we'll get to that in just a second. Like I said, this is the mayor's side here. Now look at this, a calendar from 1920. Look at that. How awesome is that? It's all framed up real nice. That is amazing. Some old pictures of Matewan here in the 1920s. Okay, now we would be just back this way. Just if the picture were a little bit wider, we'd be about right here somewhere. Look at that, horses and junk. That is wild, 1920. Hard to imagine, you know, that the world came this far since 1920. In 100 years, we went from wagons to Teslas, you know, to Mustangs. It's wild, isn't it? Picture shows western view of Matewan from left to right on the back street. Yeah, the massacre right there. It's right across the street, right over here. We'll get to that though. I'll show you all that stuff too. Directly behind the train and Matewan lockup, City Hall not seen. So it would be right here. Okay. Sid Hatfield. There's Sid. That's Ed. That's Ed Chambers. I think he was 22 if I'm not mistaken. 22, 25. He was young. And that's the Welch Courthouse. I've been there. We did a story, stood right there and told the story about Sid getting murdered there. Wow, it actually shows an X where it happened. I thought it was up here on the flat. It happened on the curve. Danny, if you're watching this, man, we were off by about 10, 15 feet. When we said we thought we found the spot, we were off by about 10 feet. Right there's the exact spot. Imagine that. Wow. Now this one is after the Battle of Blair Mountain. My mother was a Blair, by the way, just in case anybody didn't know that. Yeah, my family had their fingers in everything, I know. Old school hillbillies. Been here since day one. West Virginia State Police and the U.S. Army in the city of Logan after the Battle of Blair Mountain. Now, that was an amazingly wild time in American history, the Battle of Blair Mountain. Among other things, it was the first time that if I'm not mistaken, now I read this, that it was the first time that airplanes were used in combat, and they were dropping gasoline incendiary bombs on civilians from old twin-wing biplanes. Imagine that, on civilians. Yeah, you heard me. Oh, the mayor's desk, okay? Check this out, the mayor. Look here. ID, Mountain Goat Leo. There's some really good cops up here, y'all. They know stuff. In today, out tomorrow, crime. I don't know. I think I can beat that charge. I don't think there's a jury. I don't think there's a jury in this world that's going to convict. Do you? Okay, I'll quit being stupid. No, I probably won't. That is cool. Look at that. Little stove. That's really cool. Okay, hang on. Right. These are the citizens involved in the Matewan Massacre. They were acquitted of all charges, including the murder of the Baldwin-Felts detectives. Wow. That's Sid right there in the back. That is wild, isn't it? J.B. Maynard right there. There's J.B. Lost his wife at a young age and dedicated his life to law enforcement. Here in the little town of Matewan in 1920. I bet that was a rough job. I mean, could you imagine moonshiners here in Matewan? You know, and the feud going on, and, you know, well, not the feud, but animosities, and you know what I'm saying, and then all this mine war stuff, and wow. Could you imagine the job, the life this dude lived? Wow. Now, this is Ed Chambers. He was Sid's friend. He's the one on the steps. This is the other one that was killed on the steps. And there's Sid. Smiling Sid. He ain't smiling in that picture, though, is he? There's another one of him, little video. It's really wild looking. Got them gold teeth. Anyway, moving on. Check out my room. Interesting, isn't it? You actually sleep in the actual cell here. Now, these aren't the original bars. I already asked Keith about this, the owner. These are not the original bars. When they got it, the original bars had already been removed. But, let me... oh. I need good light for this. Look right here. You see the mark? Going all the way across the floor. That is where the original bars once stood. And as you can see, these bars sit in the exact same place where the original bars to the jail once stood. I mean, you imagine you're in here, right? You're in jail here. It's 1920. Sid Hatfield's out here. I mean, good Lord, could you imagine? In Matewan, West Virginia, you're into jail. Oh, Lord. This is not a good day, y'all. This is a bad day. This is a real bad day. It's warming up, though, finally. It was pretty chilly this morning. We had a frost. We had frost on the ground this morning. It's supposed to be like 65 today. So it should be a really good day for it. We're going to go do some exploring. A couple other markers I want to show you. The bullet holes. You see that little porch right there? Just underneath that little porch on the right hand side is some of the bullet holes. And this section right here, that's part of the original town. Of course, this. And there's a lot of ATVs. Hatfield McCoy trails are right there. Devil Anse Trail System is right there. Ooh, sound like a chain about to come off. Oh, okay. But you can see anyhow, like I said, where old buildings used to be. But there's a lot of that. From my understanding, there used to be a whole other section from old pictures. It looked like there was a street or something that went back up that way on the hillside. And I've noticed that before, from these columns. Kind of wonder, just how big the town used to be in 1920. And now this little spot right here is the intersection of Mate Street and Farrell Street. And it's pretty much the geographical center of the historic district of Matewan. That's some of the old town right there, as a matter of fact. Trying to watch the cars here. Ain't a whole lot, but there's a few. Anyhow, this right here used to be the old bank, but now it is the Mine Wars Museum. That's Sid right there, and Mother Jones, picture of her as well. Hang on one second, I'll show you that real quick. The Mine Wars Museum right here, and Mother Jones, Sid Hatfield, and that's Ed there, of course. I already showed you guys that picture there. Great big blown up picture of him right there. But where we're going is the massacre site right back here. Matewan Historic District has been designated a National Historic Landmark. This district possesses national significance in commemorating the history of the United States of America. Hit the little button right here. It'll give you quite a bit of the history. And like I said, the museum, there's a lot of it over there. Look at that. Bullet holes. Still in the wall. And if you look, see, these are slugs, you know, put in to fill the hole in. But you can see the way the holes, that they're lined, you know, the alignment of the holes. That's Sid's office right there. That's where I'm staying. The old city hall, the old city lockup. That is stupid cool. That is stupid cool. But anyway, we've got several other spots, and I'm going to take you and show you Sid's grave right here in just a few minutes. But we've got one more little one. There's another spot right over here that has some stuff about it. But there's a historic marker right here on the corner. I figure I'll read to you real quick. The Matewan Massacre. In 1920, area miners went on strike to gain recognition of the UMWA, United Mine Workers. On May 19th of the same year, 12 Baldwin-Felts agency guards came from Bluefield to evict the miners from company houses. As guards left town, they argued with the town police chief, Sid Hatfield, and Mayor Testerman. Shooting of undetermined origins resulted in the deaths of 2 coal miners, 7 agents, and the mayor. None of the 19 men indicted were convicted. It's wild, isn't it? No one, you know, no accountability from anybody, you know, as far as that goes, you know, realistically speaking. But I don't know. To me, I think Sid doesn't quite get the recognition that he probably should. Check this out. Before I show you the site, I've got something right here I want to show you. See this truck right here pulling out? That's the current chief of police. Has Sid Hatfield's old job, right? Sid and JB's old. Well, I guess they both had JB's old job. Him and Sid Hatfield have JB's old job. But he's out here, check this out. He's out here delivering stuff to churches. Imagine that. He's out here delivering. He's got shoes and clothes and stuff like that, and was just putting up a new flag here. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool dude. He is a good dude. We've been out here talking for about 20-30 minutes, just standing there yapping. You know how it is. But this right here was what I wanted to show y'all real quick. This little sign right here, right at the edge of town, right by the Trailhead Bar and Grill. Really good food, yes. Wingo's, great food. Mexican place, great food. Anyway. Yeah, y'all come up here. This right here is the historical marker right here at the boundary of West Virginia and Kentucky. Once you cross the bridge here, you're in Kentucky. It says Legends and Lore. Sid Hatfield, known for flashy gold teeth, Smiling Sid fought for miners in the Battle of Matewan. Yeah, I remember Battle of Matewan or Matewan Massacre. His 1921 murder sparked the Battle of Blair Mountain. And this plaque was placed by the West Virginia Humanities Council. But here's some more right here. This one's, let's see, Matewan and the Railroad. I know this mentions Devil Ants too as well. And another one, Matewan Area History. And if you guys come up, you know, a little bit more information for you here. And of course over here too. And this right here is the old replica depot. The old depot, if you've seen like the old pictures of Matewan, I believe it was in one of them at the old lockup. It used to sit down here, but you know, the new road, you know how progress, all that kind of thing. At Buskirk, just outside of Matewan, right across the bridge from Matewan into Kentucky. There was no ox cart, there was no wagon. they brought the man up by hand from right over there on the other side of the river to the memory of Sid Hatfield, May 15th, 1893 to August 1st, 1921. Defender of the rights of working people, gunned down by Felts detectives on the steps of the McDowell County Courthouse in Welch, West Virginia during the Great Mine Wars. Down here at the bottom, it says, "We will never forget." And if y'all, a lot of you probably remember that saying for something else. The only other thing that I know of right off the top of my head that this has been attributed to is 9/11. That's how significant, that's how important this man's death was. It says his murder triggered, hang on, let me get down here. His murder triggered the miners' rebellion at the Battle of Blair Mountain. And you can see where people visit: coins, a bullet, handcuffs. Even to this day, the man's still revered. Dedicated to the memory of Sid Hatfield for distinguished service and self-sacrifice in the cause of labor and advancement of the United Mine Workers of America. There's a UMWA seal right there, 1890. That is totally wild, isn't it? Right beside of him, remember I told you the Mayor Testerman? Mayor Testerman is right here beside of him. That is wild, isn't it? Linked together forever, I'm sure that when Sid took the job as the police chief and Mr. Testerman became mayor, I kind of doubt that they figured their eternity would be linked together forever, but here we are. And right down here, right behind them, there's one more I want to show you. Right here is where we're going. This is Ed Chambers, one I've showed you the picture of a couple times. Edward Chambers, November 8th, 1899 to August 1st, 1921. God defends the right. Killed at Welch, West Virginia in McDowell County by the Felts detectives. And he has one of those plaques over here as well. Dedicated to the memory of Ed Chambers for distinguished service and self-sacrifice in the cause of labor and the advancement of the United Mine Workers of America. It's wild, guys. It's real history. Sid is right here. The one and only Sid Hatfield is literally, his gold teeth are 6 feet away from me. Go back to Sid's office and spend the evening kind of hanging out where he worked, where he spent most of his time, and JB as well, where they spent most of their time, to hang out in the old Matewan City lockup. I'm actually looking forward to it. I know it's just, going to sleep, but I don't know. I like that stuff. I like stuff like that. I guess if you're watching this, you probably do too. But anyway, I'll have to shut the camera down in a second. They're working over here. That was the old radio tower. Old radio station used to be there. And they tore it down. And the old antenna there has the cell tower on it. And they're putting in new cell towers, which we, Matewan, desperately needed. Really needed some new cell towers. So I bet the whole town is just thrilled about this. Now this is the old church here in Matewan, right down from Sid's office. That's his office right there. And this church here figures into the story as well. This right here is the old, well, the M.E. South Church, okay? The church was established in 1892 in a little one-room wooden structure. It remained as that structure until around 1919, when a new structure was built to replace it. During the Matewan Massacre in 1921, that's what I was going to tell you. The residents of the community brought all of the children out of the town to the church, where games were played and the children were fed until the situation was resolved in town. The current sanctuary was built in 1933 by Italian immigrant stonecutters, and the fellowship hall was added in 1955. The stonework was used from the mountains in the local area. The name of the church was later changed to the present name of Matewan United Methodist Church. The church has experienced numerous floods as well as fire damage throughout its history, but remains a vital part of the community. That's what I was going to say. I was going to bring that up, that the people during the Matewan Massacre, this was the refuge. When all of that was going on and the aftermath immediately after, this is where everyone huddled with all of their children to escape bullets flying everywhere and possible revenge, retribution the following days afterward. So I guess they figured the church is probably just about the safest place to be. And I guess if something does happen, you're in a church. At least you got that working for you, at least. Pretty old building though, isn't it? When I was younger, I didn't care about architecture. Did not care a bit. But you get a little bit older, I guess it's like genealogy, Architecture doesn't really mean much when you're young. You get a little bit older, a little bit wiser. You start to figure out what's what. Some of us do. Not all. Not all. Okay, let's head on out. I just wanted to run down here real fast and show y'all this real quick. Alright. Okay, back to my jail cell. It's just like a work release. I got out for good behavior. Well guys, I'm back at Sid's office and got all of my running done for today. Got a whole train load of electricity sitting there waiting for you guys, getting ready to leave town. Whole train load of electricity right there. Interesting, huh? Anyway, I've got the doors opened up, kind of aired out a little bit, and fresh air, all that good stuff. But I stopped at Trailhead and I got me some lunch, and I am going to sit in Sid Hatfield's old desk. Well, I don't know if that was his desk, but it's where it sat. I'll be sitting in the same spot and have me some dinner. The same spot that no doubt Sid and JB Maynard, But we've got catfish. We've got catfish, y'all. How bad can it be? Life can't be that bad if you have a big plate of catfish, now can it? If I can get this off here one-handed. There we go. Here we go. Fresh catfish from the Trailhead Bar. That is really good. good. That is really good. All you prisoners, shut up. You ain't getting no dinner today. Bad. Of course, I guess any prisoners in there now is probably ghosts, huh? All right, guys. We got hush puppies and potato wedges, curly fries, catfish, and some coleslaw. Sounds good. Hang on. If you like history, like cool places, and you like trains, brother, this is the place for you. Hanging out in Sid Hatfield's old jail cell, old Matewan lockup. Well, let's see. Movie's over with for now. It's about 8:15. Figured we'd take a quick step outside and check out the bustling nightlife of Matewan, West Virginia on a Wednesday night. I heard some crickets. Does that count? I see a car. I see a car. Big party right there. Big party right there. It's wild. The view probably hasn't changed that much in the last 100 years, other than that wall. Hasn't really changed a lot. It's kind of a little bit cool out here. It's supposed to get down to about 50 degrees tonight, but that's okay. It's nice and warm back in my jail cell. That does not sound good, does it? That does not sound good. Nice and warm back in my jail cell. But hey, it's nice and warm in the jail cell. What can you say? Got my TV. They've got Wi-Fi here. I brought my TV. They have one right here. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, they got a TV right there. But mine has, you know, Hulu and Netflix and, you know, Prime and all that other stuff. And, you know, and it's already set up to my phone. You know, it's already set up to the hotspot. So all I have to do is just turn it on, you know, wherever I'm at. If I've got cell service or Wi-Fi or any kind of connection whatsoever, you know. I didn't have a lot of camping gear or nothing this time, so Heather said, yeah, you may as well just throw it in the trunk. Yeah, good point. Worked out good, though. I've got a TV in here in my bedroom. And I can lay here in my little jail cell, in my bed, and watch TV from here. Good morning from the old town of Matewan. Came out just a minute ago. The sun's just coming up, sunrise. I was thinking, man, it's gonna be a pretty day. Check the weather, it's gonna rain in like an hour. It's pretty right now though. Anyhow, I came out, I opened the door. I'm just gonna take a quick peek outside, see what it looks like, you know, sunrise. I've been up since about 6. I opened the door. There's a huge rainbow right there. I ran in, grabbed my cell phone, grabbed a couple quick pictures. I don't know. Hopefully I got it. It didn't last long. I see a faint hint of it right above those 2 air conditioning units. Right there. Just a very faint hint. Either way, it's going to be a pretty day for now anyway. For the next little while, it's going to be a pretty day. But yeah, last night went good. No problems. watched a couple movies, hung out, you know, hang out in the jail cell. Just kind of hanging out and having fun, watching TV, talking to Heather, you know, just goofing off. You know how it is. Hang on, let me get some lights on in here. Oh, that's a porch light. I don't think we need that. Some mean looking little handcuffs, ain't they? Look like they're handmade, don't they? Interesting. Alright, let's have some coffee and get woke up and all this kind of stuff. You know how it is, your head's still muddy. That cool air out there though, that'll do it. That ought to do it. It's like 50 something out there. It's not exactly what you would call warm. Sun's gone. It's that fast. See a few darker clouds rolling in here and there. That's the old church I showed you right there, where everyone hid, took all their children to be safe. A wild old town, you know. It's kind of like some of the stuff you see, you know, Old West kind of things. And Matewan certainly got its own little Old West thing going on still. To this day, it's still kind of got like an Old West kind of feel to it. Very wildernessy, if you know what I mean. Alright, let's go in, sip on some coffee, relax in City Hall. Imagine that. I bet Sid never saw this day coming, did he? Somebody hanging out in his jail cell and, you know, people paying money to to spend the night in his jail cell. I bet he never saw that coming, did he? Okay. Warmed up some coffee this morning. Well, I guess it's about time here pretty soon. I'll go ahead and gather up all my junk. I think I'll just chill for a little bit longer. It's still pretty early. Maybe just kind of relax for a little while and just kind of soak up some of the ambiance. Head home a little later. That sounds like a good idea. Why did I do my coffee anyway? A lot of history. Whole lot of history. And a lot of it, you know, here. Wow. I love that little stove though. That is pretty. I'd like to have one like it. I've got one at the house. I just haven't done this stuff yet to put it in. Anyway, guys, I guess I'm going to get out of here. It's going to be raining soon. Well, actually raining now, isn't it? Yeah, I thought I saw some rain. It's weird over here. You get over in town, it's kind of backwards. You get over in town, it's, you know, like quiet today. And you get over here where the road goes by, you know, it's super quiet, but you got a little bit of something to look at, you know. Watch the world go by. West Virginia. Matewan, West Virginia, watching the world go by. Alright guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I've got to just load up a handful of stuff left. And I am out of here. Let me see. Got everything all spick and span. I even emptied the trash can. Alright guys, I guess we'll see y'all a little bit later. I hope y'all enjoyed our little trip up here, you know. Come up to the old jailhouse and hang out for a night and show the place to you guys, you know. If any of y'all may want to come down, you know. Oh yeah, if any of you do come down, I'm sure that anybody comes in to rent this place, they're, you know, they're not, what kind of idiot, you know. Seriously. If any of y'all come down, sign that puppy word right below me, and I'll be back from time to time over here. I'll check. Thought that might be fun. The Matewan Lockup. That's the name if y'all want to look it up, by the way, on Facebook or whatever to rent it. It's called the Matewan Lockup. But from the Matewan Lockup in Matewan, West Virginia, this is Leo with the Hillbilly Files. Leo out. See you guys next time. As acting sheriff of Matewan, West Virginia, and sole occupant of City Hall, I hereby judge that all of you should watch all of our videos, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Crap, that was louder than I thought it was going to be. But you're still sentenced to watch our shows. Don't miss any. Comment, like, subscribe. Uh-oh. They've updated the charge, telling stupid jokes. Well, they got me there. I can't do much about that one. They got me for sure. I'm going to jail, y'all. I can't beat that one.